Probably for 2 days, so. So Mr. Shamspear's own actions on the day of the incident 6 days ago were slightly suspicious. Though I have... The treasure? Present evidence. Yes, sir? Seems I have got something then if you can. On the in question, is it not the case that you presented the slug in salad, a place you don't normally patronize, for a very particular reason? I don't know what you're talking about. Pray, if thou hast some purpose, speakst. Or is it one of no? Yeah, it's a treasure, if I remember right. Very well, I will present the court with evidence. Namely, teacups, no, nors. Would it be then?
Take that!
Oh, good Horatio. There are more things in heaven and earth than I'm all dreamt of in the philosophy. Horatio? I believe it's a line from Shakespeare's play Hamlet, Miss Narhodo. Be it a line from the great Shakespeare or from Mr. Shamspeare. The message is the same. I learned an opinion is wide of the mark. Hardly surprising, given this witness's obtuse literary quotes. Ah, so I don't have enough evidence. Boom.
Hold it!
What little matter, Miss Green? Please elaborate. It was nothing really, it's not worth mentioning. If you remember, you mentioned it to us yesterday at the hospital. Ah. It was related to the card you were holding. Miss Green! What's that? She clearly just hit something behind her back. I had a hunch something wasn't right. I mean, evidence-wise. From memory, I believe the card contained a note that read, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Oh, what does that matter? This has nothing to do with Duncan.
Excuse me!
Mr. Shamspeare, do you have something to share with the court? To be or not to be? That is the question. Ah, pray forgive me. The great bard's words spring from within me with ne'er thought. Don't tell me it's because you're possessed by Shakespeare's spirit, right? Hearing Miss Green's words a moment ago seemed to make you think of something. Something of relevance, perhaps? Well, nay, sire, 'twas nothing at all. Presumably you know the name, no? Mr. Duncan Ross, I mean? After all, you were both lodgers in the same house. I would it was so, but sadly nay. Lodging be a lonely occupation, sire. My lodging fellows be very known to me. So you haven't heard of him, even though he passed away in the room just one floor above yours? Miss Green, Me, my lord? Have I done something wrong? The card that was mentioned before, containing a note to have it upon your person. God, my voice for the judge just gets worse each time. I do, yes, but I don't need it anymore. In fact, I should right away, really. Before you dispose of it, the court will take it as evidence, please. Miss Green's card has been entered into the court record. Of course. That's what links Mr. Shamsbury and Miss Green. It's Duncan Ross. Now, continue your testimony, please, Miss Green.
Hold it!
So this is the link between the two. The envelope has been ripped open rather carelessly, hasn't it? Miss Green strikes me as the type to open correspondence more neatly than that. Ah! Was it? The way the envelope is torn, I'm almost sure I've seen that exact same shape somewhere else. Oh! You don't mean... Were you thinking of this piece of evidence, Miss Naruhodo? Exactly, that's it. Try to match them up. They go together perfectly. This torn off end to the envelope clearly belongs with this card. The details of Miss Green's card have been updated in the court record. The details of the torn off end of envelope have been updated in the court record. Huh? What did you say? Holy shit. For once we agree on something, Van Zeeks. It's true, the menu lists premium crusts of bread and glasses of water in different levels of cloudiness. I would have expected the strawberry and open vicinity to be more appropriate for me means watery soup and mushy peas, or rather soupy water and pea-like mush. Or equally appetizing. Is it though? I just wanted to try some water in a different pub for once. What's wrong with that? Oh, different can more really be. But if it's flavoured, if it's normal water, not so much. Or perhaps there's a more plausible explanation. A specific reason why you had to go to that particular establishment. Agreed. Present evidence. I believe this card reveals the answer. Good lord, Miss Green's card, you mean? That's right, my lord. It reads, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 PM on 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Mr. Shamsbury, your actions on the afternoon of Miss Green's stabbing are exactly as described in this note. Personally, I find it hard to believe that's a coincidence. Don't you, Mr. Shamsbury? Well... Excuse me, can I say something? Yes, Miss Green? That card was delivered to me. It doesn't have anything to do with this old man, does it? Well, you'd think so, yes. But it's hard to believe it's merely... My lord, may I? May you what, Miss Green? I'd like to make something very clear about that card. Explain why a bit of it was... Very well, you may amend your testimony to include details about the peculiar note.
Objection!
The day before the incident, exactly 1 week ago now, this note was delivered to your address. And upon carrying out the instructions in the note, you found yourself in hospital. Yes, I did. It's terrible, everything that's happened to me. Yes, it is terrible. If it's all true, that is. What do you mean? Miss Green, have a look at this, please. It's a torn-off end of an envelope. Oh, is it? And it so happens that it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the note you received. Where did you find that? In Mr. Shamspeare's room. Eh? In my room? Mr. Shamspeare, do you perhaps remember this note from somewhere? Well... Your actions that afternoon follow the instructions in the note to the letter. Come to the Slug and Salad on Priory Road at 5 PM on the 17th. So, that's exactly where you went. Let me ask you again, Mr. Shamspeare. You already knew about this note, didn't you? And you, Miss Green? What do you have to? As this torn-off end of the envelope proves, the note was originally in Mr. Shamspeare's room. So how is it that came to be in your possession? I don't have the first idea. I'm just a fledgling artist after all. There is only one explanation. You broke into Mr. Shamspeare's room and stole it. You did what? Sorry, now has to what? You broke, now we're in my room? What on earth? Do you want with me? It would seem that both witnesses need to testify again. Miss Green? Yes? Whilst you have the court's sympathy, I'm sure, for the suffering you have endured, anyone found to be giving false testimony in a court of law will be duly punished. Kinda creepy how Van Zieks is the age of my brother. Yes, I know. Very well then, witnesses. You will give formal testimony again now. On the subject of this curious anomaly regarding a note Miss Green claims to have received. Oh, I forgot my voice again. The anomaly of the note. I do remember now, it was a week ago, peradventure, that note was delivered unto me. On the day written therein, I did tarry long at the Slug and Salad, yet nobody came. Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished. I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck into this man's room, do you? Why would I? I can point out the villain here, and as for that torn-off piece of the envelope, I don't know anything about it. You now claim to have received this letter, do you, Mr. Shamspeare? Faith, 'tis so, my lord, and I would swear to have set it upon the table in my humble lodgings. Yet 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from the tavern that night, I have not laid eyes on it. Well, that being the case, young lady, it would appear that your testimony was a lie. Is that what you think? Unfair of you to think I'm the one lying. I beg your pardon? I'm just a fledgling artist, as I said, and fledgling artists don't lie. Are you sure about that? I could have said the same back when I was doing programming. Or now, being a freelancer. That note was delivered to me at my address. Besides, we all know who the liar around here is. If that's true, Miss Green, how do you explain the facts? This part of the envelope was, without question, found in Mr. Shamspeare's room. I don't see why I should explain. Sorry? I'm a fledgling artist. My job here is just to say what happened, that's all. It's your job to give the explanations and the proofs. You, the fledgling lawyer. The fledgling will do his best. Evidently, my learned friend's cross-examination is only hope of learning the truth. Well, counsel? I'm ready, my lord. Very well, then. The defence will now proceed with the cross-examination of the witnesses. Miss Green clearly did break into Mr. Shamspeare's room. There can be no question of that. That's actually quite a note. Yes, two facts are starting to lead me to a possible explanation for this. It's not a pretty one. The anomaly of note.
Hold it!
And can you shed any light on the contents of the note at all? Nay, sire. 'Tis as strange to me as a foreign tongue. Even with the knowledge of literature as great as mine own, verily 'tis impenetrable. Hold on. But Mr. Duncan Ross had lodgings in the same household as you. In effect, he was your neighbour, so surely you knew him, didn't you? Alack, if the choice is betwixt I knew him and I knew him not, then 'tis with foreboding that we force to declare we were by some small measure acquainted. Despite your claims, though, you followed the note's instructions and went to the Slug and Salad. Presumably that was nothing to do with your knowledge of literature. Marry, naught will have the better of me, sire, save for the lure of curiosity. So it is true, I was compelled by mine own eager heart to betake myself to the tavern, yet in the end, my curiosity was not satiated. Oh wait, I forgot to press on that.
Hold it!
So even after waiting for an hour, nobody appeared? Well, yes, sire, 'tis as thou sayest. Really? You paused for a moment before you answered. In truth, when now asked whether nobody appeared, I did suddenly recall. Really? Do you mean to tell the court that somebody did appear after all? I was not alone that night at the Slug and Salad, my lord. No, tears are turning to me now. I did treat my lips to almost clear water, mine innards to a premium crust of bread, and all around me danced a great many companions. What do you mean? What, seriously, what do you mean? Flies, sire, flies! Good lord! In the name of Beelzebub, what were they? Fairies, perchance, for a midsummer night's dream, come to taunt me? I think they were just flies. I'm not thinking that the flies ought to choose something more wholesome to buzz around. Is that wrong of me? No.
Hold it!
When exactly did you notice I had gone missing? Such idle thoughts never occupy my mind. I am busy with great ideas. In other words, you didn't... In other words, you didn't notice. Several days passed between your outing to the tavern and Mr. Natsume's visit to your room. Yes, it would appear that the note disappeared some time in that interval. Such idle thoughts never occupy my mind. I am busy with great ideas. And yet, during that time, Miss Green was comatose in the hospital, was she not? Clearly then, she could not have been stealing things from Mr. Shamspeare's room. Yes, of course. It's all some sort of misunderstanding. Isn't it, Mr. Prosecutor, sir? You have so far failed to give a satisfactory explanation as how you came by the note. Ah! I am not here to advocate for your defense, madam. I won't tolerate inconsistencies in your story. You would do well to remember that. Oh, dear me! What can Zeke scare now? I don't know what you mean. You think you snuck into the man's room, do you? Why would I?
Objection!
The class? Nope. You might as well play Russian roulette with a live firearm.
Hold it!
Oh, it addresses it when you press. I thought you had to show the evidence. It seems that this note was actually delivered to Mr. Shamsbury about 1 week ago. Oh, does it? But for some reason, it ended up in your possession. I can't think of any way that could have happened except for you breaking into Mr. Shamsbury's lodgings. But for what reason would the witness have done that? Ah! I won't deny that Miss Green's possession of the note would appear to defy logic. However, until and unless her involvement in this case can be proven in some other way, any further pursuit of this note is meaningless. Miss Green could only come into be in possession of the note by stealing it from Mr. Shamsbury's room. And yet, there's no obvious reason why she would have done such a thing. What was some other reason she broke into his lodgings, though? Yes, we should pursue that idea, Mr. Naruhodo. We're close now. I can feel it. So close to a breakthrough.
Hold it!
So you don't want to tell the court the truth about the letter, is that it? I'm a fledgling artist, remember? Artists are nearly always introverted characters. Meaning, I'm an introvert, but I don't use that as an excuse. I don't use that as a trump card when I'm in trouble. Not that I've ever been in trouble. Introverted? Gee, this fledgling doth readily cast aspersions about my nature. It's short for Sophie. That's what he is. Yet I am an angel, a seraph. Birds do harmonise with my song. The wind doth frolic my wind. Oh pity, wherefore dost thou accuse one so pure of heart, humble woman? Pure of heart? I didn't think so. Even a fledgling like me can see you're just a failure. Tragedy! Thou shalt not know the true heart of an artist until thine instruction, hereafter by death. Oh the days, oh the years, alas unlike me, thou must wait so long in vain. Miss Naruhodo, interject with some clever remark. This is your chance to shine. I'm no Shakespearean actor, Mr. Sato. No, as far as I can tell, anything that's going to resolve this argument is evidence, yes. The poison?
Objection!
Yesterday at the hospital, we saw you with this bottle, and though the contents spilled during the course of our meeting, a small quantity remained. Ah! According to the defense's independent analysis, this Mr. Shrum's chemistry set. The liquid that was still in the bottle was identified as strychnine. What? Strychnine? The very same poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspeare? Ah! Miss Green, you broke into this man's lodgings for one reason and one reason alone. To cover the end of the pipe that feeds the gas lamp in Mr. Shamspeare's room with poison. Can this be... You broke into my room? To... It may seem incredible to the court, but from the remaining clues, there is only one logical conclusion that we can reach. The person who attempted to take Mr. Shamspeare's life poison was you, Miss Olive Green. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. God, I still feel bad for her. Order! Order! Counsel, are you seriously suggesting this woman put poison on the end of the gas pipe with intent to kill? Yes, my lord. There's no other way to explain the facts. But if Miss Green did indeed set this odious trap 6 days ago, and the victim had put his mouth to the pipe that very evening as expected, the attempted murder would have happened 6 days ago, surely. Well... That's a very good point. Perhaps not, my lord. I beg your pardon? There was a significant police presence in the area that evening on account of the incident on my road. Local residents have been interviewed throughout the night as part of the ongoing inquiry. A circumspect criminal would likely have chosen not to carry out the wrongdoing at that time. Lord Van Zeeks! And of course, the following morning, there was more activity at Mr. Shamspeare's address. More activity? Ah, yes, you mean his fellow lodger, Mr. Natsume, being arrested on suspicion of murder. That's right, and as the defence has already proposed, Mr. Shamspeare was meddling with the gas in the pipe for a very sinister reason himself. Caused the gas stove in Mr. Natsume's room to go out, thereby asphyxiating the occupant. But once Mr. Natsume had been arrested, his room was under constant surveillance by the police. In circumstances, Mr. Shamspeare had no reason to blow air into the gas pipe, his intended victim being in a prison cell. With the need to tamper with the gas removed, the poison on the pipe lay dormant. And then, 3 days ago now, the situation changed again. Right, Miss Natsume's trial, which took place here at the Old Bailey, came to an end. The trial in which the man stood accused of stabbing Miss Green in the back, but was duly acquitted. That resulted in Mr. Natsume returning to his lodgings for the first time in 2 days. And that very night, his gas stove mysteriously went out, and Mr. Shamspeare was mysteriously poisoned. In conclusion, the poison that was present on the mouth of the gas pipe had been put there in the victim's room some 4 days ago. Some 4 days earlier. Not 4 days ago. Mary! With that new understanding, it becomes clear that this letter was all part of the plan. What plan? The court will recall that the note gave instructions to visit the Slugging Cell at 5 o'clock, and that the recipient should tell nobody else. The reason for those instructions is now clear. To ensure that the lodger would not be at home at the stated time. Make sure I wasn't home? Exactly. While you were out, Miss Green could safely slip into your room, knowing that she wouldn't be disturbed. You mean to say that letter was written by Miss Green, yes. And in order to cover her tracks, she took it away with her when she left. Just after she smeared poison over the mouth of the gas pipe in your room. Order! Order! What do you have to say for yourself, witness? Did you try to kill me? Miss Green's motive should be obvious. It's all tied up with someone whose name we've heard several times already during the course of this trial. So, that's what's behind all this. You will share your apparent understanding with the court, please, counsel. Which person's behind this woman's motive for the attack on the victim's life? Duncan Ross?
Take that!
Duncan Ross. That's right. Before the defendant, Mr. Natsumi, took up residence in lodgings at Mr. Garadev's, somebody else was then in the room, Mr. Duncan Ross. I know he'd heard the name somewhere else. It was all over the papers months ago, when the man died in strange circumstances at the haunted lodgings. That was ring a vague. Ah, of course, yes. I remember now. The young man they claimed was strangled by the convict's curse or some such. Sadly, my lord, it wasn't a curse of any kind. Nor was it an accident. The man died as a result of Mr. Shamspeare blowing into the gas pipe and causing gas to leak into the room. It was murder, plain and simple. Ah! Well, what do you know? The world is so unfair. Curses, curious deaths, that's all people care about. It's an interesting story, they want to know. It doesn't cross their minds that real people are involved. And once they're bored, just 1 month later, once the story's lost its appeal, everyone's forgotten him. You mean Duncan was... Mr. Ross was Miss Green's fiancé. Fiancé? You may not have known until now who Miss Green really is, Mr. Shamspeare. Well, she's not exactly who you are all along, because you're her sworn enemy. The murderer who took the life of the man she was to marry. Marry! Miss Green, is it not the case that in order to exact revenge on Mr. Shamspeare, you smeared poison over the end of the gas pipe? Which leaves you the question, who's the real villain here? Because you've got because you've got this trial, which is about who poisoned Shamspeare. But at the same time, while he was in lodgings, Shamspeare committed a murder. This is all quite extraordinary. Am I correct in my understanding that you now accuse both parties, counsel? Each on different counts of murder? Yes, my lord, that's correct.
Objection!
Inhaling so deeply, it appears that my fledgling learned friend has taken in a lungful of dubious gas, causing his judgment to be clouded. What? Why would Mr. Shamspeare have wanted to kill these lodgers, as you say? You have completely failed to provide a motive to substantiate your accusation against the man. Yes, that's right, Mr. Reaper, my liege. I have been slighted. 'Tis lies, all lies. I deny every utterance. And you'll have to forgive me, Miss Naruto, sir. I don't intend to admit to anything either. Miss Green, I'm sure you think I'm being very rude, but I'm not going to be sent to the gallows for the likes of this scoundrel. But you broke into the man's room. You didn't do it to smear poison on the pipe. What was your reason? I thought I'd have a look around, that's all. Sorry? Perhaps I might find some evidence or something in his room. Evidence that it was him who took Duncan's life. Oh vileness, oh villainy, oh tyranny, oh rotundity of women. But in any case, when I leave my room, I do turn the key in the lock. That whole place is falling apart. The locks on the doors are no different. Duncan showed me once how to unlock the door with some terps and a piece of wire. Oh awfulness, oh artfulness, oh tyranny, oh profanity of woman. We will consider your trespassing on some future occasion, but for now, tell the court what you found. What evidence your search revealed. Well, I spotted a note I'd sent him lying on the floor. When I went to pick it up, I noticed something. One of the floorboards was loose, and underneath it, I discovered a secret hiding place. Huh? Yes, we also discovered our hiding place. Inside, we found a newspaper cutting, a photograph, and an empty tin box. Ah, yes, well, the thing is, when I found it, the box wasn't empty. What? There was something in it? Yes. It's rather a nice key. What are you doing with that? What the? Every ounce of colour is drained from his face. Give it here! Give it to me now! It's mine! I inherited it! What was that, witness? What did you say? You inherited it? No, What's all this about? He inherited that key? It was obviously important to you since you'd gone to such lengths to hide it, so I took it. I don't know what it's for, but you took something precious from me, so I took something precious from you. So what if it means you can't open something now? I don't care. Give it back this minute! Give it to me! Calm yourself, witness! So Mr. Shamsbury has tried, and in one case succeeded, to take the life of 2 lodgers now. Yes, his motive for doing so is the key to everything that's happened. It's true that there appears to be no motive to support the accusation against Mr. Shamsbury at first, but considering everything we know now, I think that is actually something that could explain it. What? I need to recall every piece of evidence at our disposal, everything we've seen and heard, because I'm sure I just caught a glimpse of the link that runs through all of these events. In that case, counsel, I must demand that you present evidence to the court in support of your claim.
Take that!
Yeah, because it mentions loot. That's an official police report, is it not? Selden? How did you get hold of that? Selden? Now sadly deceased Mr. Ross and the defendant, Mr. Natsume, have only one thing linking them. The fact that they had lodgings in the same room. Well, yes, we know this, certainly. A room that was formerly occupied by Selden. Until, that is, he was arrested by Scotland Yard for his involvement in multiple burglaries. I see. And it so happens that the convict Selden left behind one very substantial mystery when he died. Some £1,000 worth of loot that he stole, which has yet remains to be found. Ah, yes, of course, it's coming back to me now. It's written in this file here. £1,000 lost en route to hell. That was how the papers summed it up. And it seems that one particular fellow inmate was with the convict in his final moments. It's not hard to imagine Selden entrusting that inmate for his most closely guarded secret, the location of the stolen loot, and perhaps a key to unlock whatever container the valuables were in. You mean this key is... Mr. Shamsbury, it was you, wasn't it? You were at the capital offender's side when he died, were you not? What are you talking about? It is a false charge, I tell you! A false charge! The name of the inmate who was with Selden at his death isn't noted in this file. A simple telegram to the prison where he died would quickly tell us how false the charge really was. But even if it's true, why would the man be so intent on killing every subsequent occupant of the convict's lodgings? There's only one explanation for that, my lord. It was in that very room that Selden hid his loot. So, it all comes out. Yes, and having established that, all of Mr. Shamsbury's subsequent actions start to make perfect sense. When he was let out of prison following Selden's death, he made immediately for Mr. Gaudeb's lodgings in the hope of renting Selden's old room. However, the retired army man was unable to offer him the accommodation of his choice, because Selden's old room had already been let to someone else, Mr. Duncan Ross. Which is why Mr. Shamsbury subsequently devised his gas-based plot to kill the occupant of the room. And when he was successful, he presumably intended to inquire about switching into the newly vacant room. However, a certain jittery someone had beaten to it. Mr. Saseki Natsume? Why do I keep going for following Natsume woman to Natsume next. The defendant of the case, no less. So you decided to use the flame of the gas again, didn't you, Mr. Shamspeare? This time to oust Mr. Nutt's very avaricious reason. To get your hands on the 1,000 pounds of loot left behind by the dead convict. You... Looks like I'm gonna snuff it before they get to stretch me neck. Listen, I want you to have me loot anything to stop the coppers getting their mitts on it. It's hidden in the room where I was lodging when they got me. Yeah, this is the key to it. Take it. Always stay one step ahead, mate. See you in hell, I guess. Shamspeare. It's mine. What did he just say? It's mine. That loot is mine. He's lost it. Mr. Shamspeare! It's all lies. I don't accept any of it. Why should I? After all, you don't have a shred of evidence. You can't prove I killed that fella. Forsooth, I'm the victim here, remember? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? If I don't admit to it, there's nothing you can do. You can't arrest me, for the time being anyway. Verily, you can't arrest the victim, can you? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so close. I just need a few more hours. I swore to myself that I'd get my hands on it, and I can almost taste it now. Do you really think I'd just give up? There's no question in my mind now. This man is guilty through and through. But he seems so utterly intoxicated by the idea of that loot. I'm afraid that however hard you press him, he'll never admit to what he's done, Miss Naruhodo. There's a way. Pardon? There's one way I can finish him. No! He's already committed the most heinous crimes to get his hands on that loot, which means all we need to do is find it first. A fine plan. Were it not for the fact that the police thoroughly searched him following the death of Mr. Ross. Which therefore, he must be very well hidden indeed. Without conclusive evidence, I certainly cannot rule. If only there was some way we could find the convicts loot quickly. Gregson, this is the final piece in this complex puzzle. I think we might have it in our possession already. Or rather, I think we may well have something that can help us find where our loot is hidden. My lord? Yes, Counsel? The defense would like to make a proposal about how to find the late convict's hidden loot. I believe we are already in possession of something that could give us a clue as to its whereabouts. It's our last chance, so it has to be worth a gamble. Besides, we've used the same technique once already, and it's definitely paid off now. Very well then, Counsel. Let the court hear your idea. In the picture?
Take that!
If I'm not mistaken, those are Mr. Shamspeare's handprints on the wall of his lodgings. That's right, my lord. Exposed as a result of the defense's independent investigation of the scene. Based on a wonderful new discovery.
You don't have to add that last bit, Susato!
A great detective. Is that some kind of joke? Do you really think I'm going to be daunted by a man of such ridiculous title? I should think the great bard ought to recognize such a title when he hears one, Mr. Shamspeare. Perhaps we should compete for the honor of most ridiculous title. Ah! 'Tis Herlock Sholmes himself! What are you doing here, great detective? The usual haunts of the filthy back streets of the capital, are they not? Ah, Mr. Reaper, it's been too long, and I see your complexion has worsened since we last met. Mr. Sholmes? He does know Lord Van Zieks, then. Well enough to say something like that, in any case. Mr. Sholmes, though you may be heralded as a great detective by the population at large, that does not give you the right to come and go in my courtroom as you see fit. If I may, my lord? Mr. Sholmes' newly developed scientific method has helped us to uncover vital clues in this case already. Clues, you say? I call them skin prints, my lord. My method identifies every location touched by an individual under scrutiny. It's a method by which we were able to ascertain this gentleman's gas pipe activities. Ah! You need only a small sample of something the individual has previously touched to make an indicator solution. In your case, sir, I used the teacup you'd been holding. Elementary. So now, Mr. Narhoda. Ah, yes? What am I to use as a sample to make the indicator solution this time? Thank you for offering to help, Mr. Sholmes. When the convict was arrested, he was living in what was now Soseki-san's room. You need a sample to help locate Selden's loot that's hidden in his old room. What form will the sample take? Ow. Upon my word, Miss Naruhodo, your powers of reasoning appear to be on the up. So, which particular person do you have in mind? From whom can we obtain a possession of late convict Selden? I'm guessing like Greg. Yeah, Gregson was the one who.
Take that!
And what trade does said person possess that could be applicable to our purpose? Let's hear your new and improved powers of reasoning at work, my dear fellow. No. But erroneously answering Mr. Sholmes' question about who might have something that belonged to the convict. Why do I feel as though Susato-san is still in my left eye now? I'm ready and waiting, Miss Naruhodo. The rest is in your hands.
Take that!
My brain just died.
Take that!
My brain just died.
You've already established I had nothing to do with it.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
We've just... It's annoying how they don't change it for this.
Take that!
Ah! Miss Green! Ah, me. What do you want with me? The key around your neck, if you please. Sorry? That key belonged to Selden. There will be remnants of secretions from the man's skin on its surface that we can use. Very true. That is the sample we need. Using it, we can create the indicator solution required for Mr. Sholmes' skin seeker. So, Mr. Shamsby, the truth is well within our grasp now, and as such, you'll never get your hands on Selden Stormwell. In that case, I'll gladly let Mr. Sholmes have his key. No! Give the key to me! The detective shan't have it! It's over, Mr. Shamspear. No, no. You're out of options now. There's only one thing left for you to do. Admit your guilt. Whoa! Oh, Shamblespear! Despair! Be thy name! I never intended to kill the man. I just wanted to drive him out of the room. That's all. So you'd have time to find the convict's haul of stolen goods. You'd have to kill the young man who still didn't move into the room. I asked the landlord, of course. I pleaded with him, but he refused. Why? I was 3 months behind the event, for one thing. Mr. Gary Dead really has had a lot to cope with. And he had the gas repair work done immediately afterwards, putting the room out of action for a while. And then this Japanese man swooped in at just the right moment to sign the new lease. Poor Mr. Natsume, what unfortunate timing. Then, 5 days ago, after the incident on Vine Road, when the Japanese fellow got himself arrested, I thought I'd finally have my chance. But it wasn't to be. No, Cena was still often guarded by the police night and day. And, if I remember rightly, Mr. Sholmes spent the whole day in there reading books. He couldn't even enter the room, let alone search for the loot. Which is why, on the day Mr. Natsume was acquitted and returned to his room, he once again tried the trick of blowing air into the gas pipe that feeds the stove in his room. Unbeknownst to you, however, that action would lead you into a deadly trap. William Shamspear. How does it go? To be or not to be? That is the question. From Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. Holy shit! You learn something new every day. I forgot that. Well, let me tell you, in your case, it's not to be. That is the answer. You deserve to die for what you've done. At first, I really did think it was just a terrible accident. I don't forget our conversation the night before Duncan died. The gas supply in my new lodgings are a complete disaster, you know, Olive. The gas supply? Yes, the stove always seems to go out in the middle of the night for some reason. It's no joke. They say it's the convict's curse. Oh, Duncan, please, don't stay there. I don't care how cheap it is. Alright then, if it's not important to you. I'll start looking for a new place. The spare room's at my house, but didn't you leave that open room tonight? No, I'd better not. We said we'd wait until we'd graduated before we told our parents, remember? But that was the last time we ever spoke. That very night, he fell victim to the gas. If only I'd known it was going to happen. I insisted he left that horrible room that instant. But instead, all I've been left with is bitter regret. I stopped going to school. Someone kept drawing me back to the house on Briar Road. I saw a stooped, eastern-looking man with a mustache coming out of the house one day when I was there. He walked up the road to Grubb's Grubbery for some food, so I followed him, and sat myself down next to him. He had some worry-looking soup and started to pick a quarrel with the publican. How can that be? Duncan was gone, and now this man had almost suffered the same fate. Could it really be a curse? Then I remembered a rumour I'd heard about how the gas companies go around investigating the gas installations. A rumour? You mean... Yes, everybody said stories, it seems, about how they go around checking the pipes. If anything connected to the gas can be extinguished by blowing it into the pipework. That's when it started, a little flicker of doubt in the back of my mind. It just wouldn't go away. Was it really an accident though? Once I'd had the idea, it wouldn't leave me alone. It plagued me day and night. So I bought this at one of the black markets in the East End. Black market? I'd never been, I just heard people talk about them. And you really can buy anything you can think of there. In some ways, being able to get my hands on this so easily made me even more determined. I had to find out one way or another. Was Duncan's death an accident? Or was it murder? And your chosen method for establishing the truth was simple, but highly effective. Smear poison on the gas pipe you suspected the man of tampering with and wait. If Mr. Shamspeare was innocent, nothing would come of what you've done. But if he was guilty, he would pay for his crimes dearly. I found out the name of the man I suspected, William Shamspeare, and I wrote him this little note. If he'd done it, I knew that would worry him enough, so he'd be sure to go, so I waited to see if it worked. And of course, Mr. Shamspeare followed the instructions to the letter. I worked out where the gas pipe was straight away, so I smeared a good amount of poison I'd bought all around the mouth of the pipe, all the time praying that the devil's work wouldn't be done. It was all just some wild fantasy. Actually, no. All the time praying that the devil's work would be done, and that the culprit would get his just desserts. So they're probably both gonna be getting sent down. Three days ago, when you were first stood in the dock before me, this whole affair seemed relatively straightforward. Yes, my lord. I certainly never imagined the depths of depravity that we should subsequently find lurking behind the scenes. It has been a long road, when you please, friend. Oh, yes. And one I certainly didn't envisage walking with you. Nevertheless, together we have reached the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. Miss Green? Yes, my lord? You will henceforth be stripped of your freedom, as punishment for the attempted murder of Mr. William Shamspeare. Yes, I know. And you, Mr. Shamspeare, you'll be tried for the murder of Mr. Duncan Ross in cold blood, and the subsequent attempted murder of Mr. Saseki Natsume here present. Miss Naruhodo? Ah, yes? Yesterday, at the hospital, when you and your friends stopped me from ending your life by drinking what was left in the poison bottle. I wasn't myself. I can't even really remember what was going through my mind. To be or not to be, I suppose. That's a question that's so hard to answer, it seems. Well, personally, I'm glad of your being here, Miss Green. Oh! And I'd like to believe that's a blessing Mr. Shamspeare didn't die when he ingested the poison. For your sake, at the very least. Because of you, I chose life, not death. And now you've made the truth come out at last. Really, I can't thank you enough. Oh, Miss Green. Mr. Saseki Natsume. Yes, my lord. The court declares that you are exonerated from all blame in this matter. Accordingly, I would call upon the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to present the verdict of not guilty. You are in full agreement, my lord. In that case, I hereby declare the defendant not guilty. Well, yeah, you got 5 who just wants to get it over and done with, so court is adjourned. February 3:24 p.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Oh, yes, yes, at last. Divine justice duly done. Divine justice? My dear fellow, if there were any divine justice in this world, you would shave that mustache. Hey! No, this has nothing to do with my mustache. Some say that luxuriant mustache is a sign of physical prowess, Mr. Jones. I wouldn't really say that, I just like having a mustache, personally. You've saved me from doom. I'm very happy to have been able to help, Mr. Natsume. Congratulations on your acquittal. Your second in almost as many days. I was first acquitted with and gained affection for English literature whilst in our great homeland empire. And then, by a twist of fate, I was brought to the land that bore the fruit of that literature. Only, the city of bricks and mortar became my prison. Try as I might, I never found my feet here. In the end, I confined myself to my room and lived life through friendly old books. You've had such a difficult time, haven't you? Ah, but a week ago now, I dragged you out of that dark and dingy room of yours, did I not? You did, and I've seen more of life in this week than all more years to date. And for the first time, I feel I've begun to see the true face of the English that's so far been hiding from me behind the wall of fog. My dearest fellow, there is nothing special about the true face of the English, as you put it. Wheresoever one goes in the world, humans are humans. There are few genuine differences. Yes, I think you're right. I'm finally starting to see that, and I've come to understand something. I've worked out why I was attracted to English literature in the first place. It made me see that whatever nationality, we humans all have the same hopes and fears. We're all just doing our best to live. Well said, I've come to feel the same way. I've made a decision too. I'm going to cut short my study tour here and return to Japan. What? Just when we've become friends here in England. What a terrible shame. Oh, I know, that does tug at my heartstrings, it really does. But I've decided I'd like to take everything I've learned here in Britain and write something of my own. A novel of sorts, I suppose. Oh my, so you'll be creating your own literature, Miss Natsume? How wonderful. Oh, well, no, I mean, I wouldn't presume to call it literature. Why not? When that is precisely the definition, Mr. Mustache. I suppose you're right, yes. It will, in a way, be literature. As of now, all I know is I'd like to try my hand at writing. I have no delusions of grandeur. I, for one, would love to read your work. I honestly wish I could do my own art, but I've got freaking poor hand coordination. I had to use a laptop all the way through school and college. After all, you have once again emerged victorious from a battle with the Reaper. Ah! That's very true. And there is no salvation for a person in the dock when the Reaper is the prosecutor. The desire to return post-haste to the perceived safety of your homeland is one I quite understand. My goodness, yes! Faced with such a terrifying prospect, nobody would consider that cowardly, I'm quite sure. But that's not why I'm leaving. I mean it. Objection. And that was the case that we found ourselves embroiled in 6 months ago now. Seki-san did indeed return to Japan and submitted a report about both cases to government. As I'm reading that report, that Professor Mikotoba was prompted to visit the scholar. And barely any time later, Susato-san was given the news that she must return to Japan as well. On the back of a telegram stating falsely that her father had fallen gravely ill. The only possible explanation that comes to mind is what happened after the trial, on the following day. The day that we uncovered the loot hidden by the now deceased convict in his former lodgings. Oh, well done, Mr. Sholmes. How simply marvellous of you. To uncover the secret hiding place in just 1 day? Wasn't it supposed to take 30 minutes? As I believe I told you, my dear fellows, skin prints are extremely useful in such situations. Wouldn't you agree, Gregson? Gregsy's been happily munching in agreement this whole time, you know it, Hurley. Happily, I think perhaps humorously would be closer to the truth. So, it transpires the man fashioned the hiding place in the ceiling. And what's in it? What exactly is the loot? Let us look now if you're ready. Let's examine the late burglar's hall. What the? What is that? It looks to be some sort of neckband or collar. Collar? It's huge though, and look at all the gemstones set in it. You can see what it was claimed to be worth £1,000. Perhaps I could have his bill. Oh, Have you noticed on the inside there? Stains. You don't think they could be blood, do you? I mean, there's quite a lot of it. On second thoughts, perhaps I won't have it as a belt. Then of course there's this emblem here. A large letter B and a small crown. What does it signify, do you think? Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Van Zeeks? Because his first name starts with B. Oh, I hadn't noticed that. I feel as though I've seen that emblem somewhere before, you know? Uh-huh. Where could it have been? That's enough of that, I think. What? What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes? All the colour has drained from his face. Yep, it's Van Zeeks. Well, Inspector, I believe you ought to be taking this on you. It could be valuable evidence, after all. It must be kept safely under lock and key. I wonder if that's why he gets put on trial later. Get your grubby hands off that, you lot, and hand over now. So what, do you think you want us to get it through telekinesis? I'd never seen a collar that large before, and all those jewels certainly looked to be extremely valuable. That's not what stood out most to me. At least, not once I'd noticed it. Those dark marks on the inside of the collar. Those stains. Could they really have been blood? Well, that was a funny case, wasn't it? But it's all buttoned up now. And you look very pleased, Iris. I am, because I was starting to wonder what I could use as the basis of this moment's story in the magazine. In this case will be perfect. It's been so fascinating. You're talking about the latest installment of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I could make it a 2-part story. Oh, I can't wait. A word please, Iris? Yes, what is it, Hurley? I'm sorry, but you can't write about this case. It's out of the question. What? Why not? It's a great case. Then I shall have to insist that you limit yourself to the first of your 2 titles. The second must now be written. Is that clear? Yes. Yeah, but
so
definitely
it was that the second of Soseki-san's cases became buried in obscurity. Now, looking back, I feel I understand. I can see why Mr. Sholmes forbade Iris from publishing the story. It would take a little longer before I saw the link between everything that had happened and would happen. For it wasn't until 2 months after the arrival of Susato-san's letter that events began to unfurl again, with an incident that took place at the very heart of the eagerly awaited Great Exhibition of London.